Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, old friends, Sangatan, and comrades. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity once again to speak about the great Baloch leader, Bano Karima Baloch. It is indeed a great honor for me to not only be affiliated with the Baloch cause, Baloch nation, but also have worked with Bano Karima in Karachi. So I would start my speech by reading a poem by Baloch poet Qamar Mubarak, who was killed by Pakistan's security agencies. So in this poem, he expresses his agony of living without a loved one. I am so empty. So the original poem is in Balochi, but this translates as, I am so empty, so vacant, and it reflects the desolation of my heart. Since in this room, I know that many of us, many people have lost their loved ones, and we are commemorating our dearest Bano Karima Baloch. That's why I chose to read this poem, because it resonates, I think, with most of us. So in this poem, through poetic expressions, he displays emptiness, sadness, loneliness, and ambiguity. And his poems as a Baloch young man depicts how the colonial practices and occupation have impacted the minds of Baloch men. The constant fear of being abducted or being killed, the humiliation and indignity they go through on a daily basis in their own homeland, the insecurity and despair the Baloch comrades they face in countries where they seek asylum, particularly young Baloch. They are experiencing the young Baloch individuals as well as a society. So in another poem, he also shares, his feelings. So the reason I chose to start with this poem is to remind us that every suffering, of course, has an impact. And the Baloch nation, which is facing an existential threat in its homeland, is paying a heavy price for resisting Pakistan's state oppression. And among many forms of state brutality, one is in the form of collective punishment that the Baloch nation faces and that the state of Pakistan imposes against those who chose to resist the oppression. A recent example is Mahzeb Shafiq, a young girl whose father has been abducted by the state just because she's vocal about enforced disappearances and against Pakistan military oppression. However, at the same time, we see tremendous resilience among the same Baloch society, same Baloch nation. Despite the state oppression and severe form of adversity, not only did Baloch resilience continue, but also new strengths are emerging out of oppression. Recently, a significant change was witnessed in Baloch history in the form of a Baloch women-led movement against enforced disappearances and military oppression. And I mean, this Baloch women-led march is unique in its essence, and it made history and headlines worldwide and was able to catch the world's attention to one of the most neglected causes in the world, Balochistan. And analysts, scholars, and people can interpret it the way they like it, and attempts are already there in place to study this one of the most powerful women-led movements that has emerged from a little-known cause in South Asia. I view this as an extension to Karima's struggle, of her vision, and also her revenge against the state of Pakistan. that pushed her into exile from her homeland. And those who know Karima knows that Karima was the first woman who actually went from door to door convincing people, especially the women in particular, to take part in politics. She was the one who was knocking doors at the time when the Baloch. So I also want to say that, all societies in the world are patriarchal. We live in patriarchal societies. Baloch society is also not different, thanks to colonialism, because it is also coming from that. But Karima, in that era, she was knocking doors from Turbat to Avaran. Everywhere she was going and convincing people and women. She also convinced people to register FIRs against those who were forcibly abducted, against the state of Pakistan about the enforced disappearances. So in that context, I will simply share some of the memories of the time. I would say, I was honored or privileged enough that I got to spend with Karima in Karachi, and how it impacted and influenced my politics as well as my personality. Before meeting Karima, I was definitely in awe of this wonderful woman who was a threat to the Pakistan military, who was challenging the Pakistan brutal military state. So before meeting Karima, obviously that was the feeling. And I used to wonder what this woman would be like. When I finally got to meet her in 2014 in Karachi, I was more in awe of her courage, but more than that, that was her humility that inspired me. She taught me through her actions that a political leader is the one who is people's person, who, when he or she sits among people, becomes like that, is from them. And no one can tell who the leader is. So Karima was one such leader. I met her when she had become the first ever female chairperson of a powerful student organization, BSO Azad. And even her position only brought her humility. And I remember meeting her for the very first time in one of the open-air restaurants in Karachi, at a time when no one had seen her face or knew she was in Karachi, because she was underground at the time. In fact, the entire BSO Azad's leadership was underground, and rest others were either abducted or killed. So initially I couldn't believe that I was meeting the women whom the Pakistani military was after in such a public place. And when I asked her why she chose to meet there, she responded with I still remember, she responded with the biggest smile. And she said that the fools, referring to the military, cannot think we can meet here in public. And I still remember in our first meeting, what I first noticed was her bright and big smile and warmth, her compassion, her feminine aura, and her sparkling eyes. Those who know Karima can tell, those who even don't know Karima can tell from the eyes, because when she was in Pakistan, obviously resisting state oppression, she was forced to cover the face because it was dangerous for her to, keep the face opened. So I still remember that, those sparkling eyes that I first noted. That was my first impression of her, which still stays with me. So after having food and chit-chat, when the discussion moved to the reason for the meeting, I noticed how her face became serious, and she started discussing things with firmness. We were discussing to organize and set up the hunger strike unto death, and she disclosed that Zahid Baloch, the leader of BSO Azad at the time, was abducted in front of her eyes in Quetta. So I remember, how the expressions shifted from compassion. She was still compassionate, but also, now she was more firm and she was more assertive in what she was saying and how she was saying. And I also remember that, Karima, when the hunger strike was, there in place, she was so worried about Lateef Jauhar. And it was her compassion that earned her the title of Maat, as Lateef and others would call her. So Maat is a Balochi, which I knew, at that time. It's a Balochi word for mother. It's for those, obviously, in the room who don't know Balochi. So they would call her Maat. And later on, when she was found dead in Canada, she earned the title of Lumma, which is another word for mother. And she's called Lumma. So I remember that, she was compassionate, but at the time when a decision has been made, she was firm, and she remained firm. So at the time, I'm just recalling when Karima became the chair of BSO Azad, things were gloomy and were the most challenging. The Baloch political movement, in particular BSO Azad, obviously a powerful voice for liberation in Balochistan, was going through a very rough and tough period of political turmoil where most of its leaders and workers were killed or abducted. And at the time when Karima took charge, Zahid was abducted too. And the rest were forced to go underground. So this also means that the space for political movement was almost closed. BSO Azad, under Karima's leadership, decides at the time to come to a city like Karachi, where political stability, thanks to the Pakistan military, was zero. It was nowhere to be seen. And BSO Azad doesn't just come to Karachi and decide to do things independently or rather in isolation. What they did, they engaged the comrades in Karachi whom they trusted. So they reached us, myself and few others, because we were part of National Student Federation, a left organization. We were based in Karachi at the time. So this act, how I see it, was very political and very visionary as well. It has a lot of wisdom. It acknowledges the importance of including locals who understands the local dynamics. And it also tells a lot that the Baloch leadership is never a narrow nationalist movement. It is indeed a movement for liberation, and that includes people who are not even ethnically Baloch, like myself, like others. And it has a space that sees others beyond the ethnic lens. It is a call for justice for everyone who believes in humanity. And I remember that while Karima was in Canada, in exile, she messaged me in August 2020. She wanted to confirm the news about a senior female advocate from Punjab, Irshad Nasreen, who was abducted, sexually abused, and tortured by probably the ISI. Karima wanted to tweet about her, demanding justice for her. So these simple and seemingly small acts are very powerful because they're very profound and truly meaningful, because they demonstrate that she believed in connecting with struggles, with other struggles. BSO Azad's act of engaging us, NSF from Karachi, and its openness of engaging with left-leaning and progressive organizations demonstrate the inclusive nature of the Baloch struggle, which also raises questions for those who blame the Baloch struggle for not being inclusive. And it is another story for perhaps another time, that how challenging it was at the time to engage left-leaning organizations and other progressive organizations, because everyone was super afraid of associating themselves with BSO Azad. I know I have exceeded my time, but I also believe that these are very important reminders about the Baloch struggles and how Karima Baloch is an icon of hope and courage and resilience. So I will take a few more moments and then I'll go. I remember the time when the Pakistan military took control of Nawab, great Baloch leader, father of Baloch nation, Nawab Khair Bakhsh's funeral and burial, and how Baloch women, under the leadership of Karima Baloch, they took control back. And it was perhaps for the very first time in Baloch contemporary history that women took control or took charge of the funeral of a leader, of a Baloch leader, and held it on their shoulders. And later on, we also see that how Karima's own funeral was also led by women when the military, Pakistan military, tried to stop the Baloch nation from joining her burials. So I will just end my talk by sharing one last memory. Those who know me very closely, they know that I have a very weak heart. And it used to become really, really sad. So while working closely with Karima, I learned how she would smile and laugh away the challenges. And it doesn't mean that, she would take them lightly, but rather it means that she believed in not losing one's smile and hope and energy in the face of oppression. Karima taught me through her actions how important it is for a political leader to keep smiling, as it boosts the morale of the nation and is the biggest weapon against the oppressors, which they fear the most. So once I remember a horrible propaganda campaign was being run against Karima and also me, where we both were being called ISI agents, directly and indirectly. And it was happening at a time when every day and night we were like really on the hunger strike camp. We were facing harassment and intimidation by ISI. There were so many other challenges going on. Latif was on hunger strike unto that, and we were like really obviously worried about his deteriorating health. So once I was sitting in the camp and I was feeling really down because after reading a propaganda post about me, Karima asked me what happened. And I told her that, this is the post and this is what has impacted me. And now I assumed that she would probably console me and she would say, let it go. Instead of consoling me, she started laughing. And then she started reading another post, and which was obviously full of lies about her and about me. And then she started showing me other posts in Balochi language, which obviously I didn't know. And I was like really very surprised and taken aback, and I was like, Karima, like really? So, I remember what she said. So she said that, she said to me, take these things lightly. And she said that, take all this propaganda lightly and just treat it as fun and just laugh it away. She also said that, they want us to be distracted by such means, but we will treat it as fun and we will not let it impact us. They just don't mean anything. So, I was really, really in awe of her courage, her energy, and honestly, even today, when I hear things about me which are not true, Karima's words and actions give me courage. There are so many other things, and I can talk about her endlessly. I think I should stop here and just say that today, what we are seeing in Baloch society, the more resilience, new wave, I think it's Karima. I feel, and it's my, my version of looking at Karima, I see Karima as, the first ray, the first beam of sun. There is still darkness, but yes, the beam is there, and we will see the sun as well very soon. Every young Baloch girl, every young Baloch, women, every young Baloch child, when I see them, it reminds me of Karima, that was Karima's vision. That was her struggle. That was her efforts. And I want to remind us all through Karima's memories that, here most of us are in exile. And exile, obviously, it's a difficult journey. We have our challenges in various forms and ways. But I think Karima's message is always smile and carry ourselves with smile and hope. So thank you so much. And also, so this dress, I'm just going now. So this dress is very special for me, and I wear it, and I will keep repeating wearing it. So this was Ayan Karima. We went shopping together in Karachi, and then she bought this for me, and she also selected the design. I was about to go for another design, but she said no. She said, go for this one. And then she also, I didn't know that, she knows how to cut. So she actually cut this one for me. So this is a very, very special memory of Karima that will definitely going to stay with me for the rest of my life. And I love Karima and I love you all. Thank you so much. Azad Balochi.